the strongest hero is betrayed by humanity and reincarnates as an overpowered Dark Lord. In the year 447, there was a huge war around the world between the 6 heroes and the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord's army of skeletons rushes into the battlefield to face the heroes. But the heroes have been blessed with godly powers and now have angel forms. The Demon Lord, Leonis, was sitting in his room chamber watching everything from his ball. All his strongholds have been defeated, and this is their last line of defense. The skeletons manage to clap some human soldiers, but one of the heroes has the power to bring them back to life. Suddenly, a huge tree-like creature appears, making the Demon Lord angry because he recognizes it as the Archsage hero who quit being human to get more power. Leonis gets up and summons his staff to join the fight. But his Fenrir companion and loyal general stops him, reminding Leonis that he made a promise to the goddess of rebellion. She had entrusted him to do something when he was still human, so Leonis decided to accept defeat. He drops his staff and walks toward a door while his castle is being destroyed. Before entering, he promised that he would rise again in 1,000 years and reclaim his throne, and so he sealed his own soul in the Grand Mausoleum. Later, when 1,000 years have passed, as we see 2 girls entering a ruin. Regina wonders if they will really find any void, but Celia reminds her that the void is creatures that like to nest in deep underground ruins. We see them using a counter to help detect the presence of the void, and they come across some strange statues. They think that the ruin could be some kind of important tomb, but they continue to explore. Their counter spikes as they approach a door, but it seems to be magically sealed. Celia examines the inscription, but she struggles to understand what it says. Regina thinks she will take a while to decipher it, so she decides to explore on her own. Celia keeps on examining the text, but when she touches it, the door suddenly opens for her. The room lights up, and a giant crystal is revealed on the other side. Celia's counter goes wild, and it even ends up breaking. She gets a closer look at the crystal and she realizes that there's someone inside. We cut back to the past when Leonis finds the goddess of darkness, Rosalia. She reminds him of their promise that in 1,000 years' time, a human who can be a vessel for her power will appear, and it's his duty to find them. Leonis begs her to stay with him, but she just flies away. We see Celia trying to destroy the crystal, but her weapon seems to have no effect. Leonis is awakened by the disturbance, and he wonders how she entered the room because it should be sealed by magic. He wonders if 1,000 years have passed, and uses a spell that allows him to understand Celia. He thinks she is some kind of grave robber, so he prepares to punish her, and his crystal suddenly shatters, blowing her away. He approaches to punish her, but Celia is suddenly confused by what a child is doing there. Leonis sees his reflection, and he is shocked to see he's just a child. He wonders if his reincarnation ritual failed, and it seems he has returned to his younger self back when he used to be a hero. Celia wonders what he is doing in the crystal, and she immediately checks to see if he's okay. Leonis gets embarrassed, and he even finds Celia kind of cute. Celia thinks he must be suffering from some kind of amnesia, and she immediately hugs him close to her melons, saying she will protect him. Leonis can't believe a demon lord like himself is being treated this way, but part of him enjoys it as he is a precocious dude and ends up passing out after enjoying her soft cushions truly. When Leonis wakes up, Celia gives him some food, but we learn he has lost his sense of taste centuries ago. He can't believe his body would lose consciousness due to hunger. While some man of culture as me might not agree, as the sensation of ultimate weapons is just too much. Punish Celia for pressing her bazookas on him, but thinking about how she shared her food with him, he thinks she might not be so bad. Celia introduces herself to him, revealing that she's a swordsman in training at the Holy Sword Academy. She asks to know more about him, so he introduces himself as Leonis Magnus. She finds his name interesting, and Leonis thinks she must recognize it from the legends passed down about him, but she just thinks it's a cute name, and she even calls him Leo. She wonders how he ended up in the ruin, and thinks he must have been kidnapped and trapped by the void. Leonis doesn't know what she's talking about, and he asks about the void. Celia is surprised he doesn't know, but she explains that they are the enemy of humanity that suddenly appeared 64 years ago. Meanwhile, we see Regina exploring on her own as her counter starts going off and a crystal starts to move. She immediately activates her holy sword and she prepares for a fight. Celia explains that there is still much they don't know about the Void, and Leonis wonders what year they're in. However, it's not clear how long it's been because they are now using a different calendar system, and Celia just tells him that it's the 64th year. There is suddenly an explosion and Regina reports the appearance of a colossal void. Celia jumps on Leonis to protect him from the debris and she tells him not to worry. The wall is suddenly destroyed and an ogre-class void appears. Celia tries shooting it with her weapon, but it doesn't do any damage. Leonis prepares to defeat it, wanting to protect his mausoleum, but he suddenly trips over his cloak because he isn't used to his body. The monster gets even closer, but it suddenly gets blasted as Regina appears. She wonders about Leonis, but Celia tells her she will explain it later. The monster starts to get back up, so Regina transforms her weapon into an even bigger cannon, blasting it in the chest. The monster manages to survive, and Leonis is surprised, recognizing Regina's power on the same level as a level 4 explosion spell. Regina tells them to escape while she finishes off the void. Celia doesn't want to leave her, but thinking about Leonis' safety, she agrees to go. As they run, Leonis thinks about how everything seems to be going wrong. He thinks about going back and destroying the monster, but decides to stick with Celia so he can get more information about the current world. Their path is blocked by another void monster, and Celia tells him to run. She prepares to hold it off, but Leonis thinks about revealing his power and defeating it. He is about to cast his spell, but Celia suddenly pushes him away as the monster attacks and cuts her down. She is thrown to the side, and she starts bleeding out, but she still worries about Leonis, telling him to run away and apologizing for being unable to protect him. Another monster appears, and Leonis becomes surrounded on all sides, but when they attack him, he's completely protected by a barrier. He summons his staff and instantly crushes one of the monsters with a level 8 gravity spell. He then attacks with a fireball, taking out the other 2 monsters with ease. However, he becomes shocked when he sees that the bones of the monster still remain, and he notes that in his current body, his powers are only a third of what they used to be. As a demon lord, he doesn't care about human life, but he recognizes Celia's courage, so he decides to bring her back. As he revives her, we see a peculiar symbol appear on her body. Regina finishes off the monster on her end, and she immediately tries to contact Celia. Leonis is amazed that humans have developed such technology, and Celia wakes back up. She immediately hugs him, glad that he's okay, and Leonis can't believe that's the first thing she's worrying about. She then wonders how she is alive, and Leonis says her injuries weren't that bad, and he just used a healing spell on her. Celia is confused by this, and she wonders if it was a holy sword power that he used. Leonis says he doesn't know what she means, so Celia explains that holy swords are a type of power that arose in humans in order to fight the Void. When the Void first appeared, children possessing mysterious abilities also started showing up. Leonis recalls Regina's weapon, and Celia explains that holy swords seem to embody the personality of the wielder, but she notes that she has yet to be blessed with her own holy sword, which is why she fights with magical devices. They are joined by Regina, and she wonders about the monsters that they encountered. Celia also wants to know what happened, but Leonis says that he hid, and they seem to just disappear. They make it outside, and they decide to take Leonis back to the city. Regina introduces herself along the way, but she catches him staring, and she calls him lewd. Celia tells her not to be weird, but Regina continues to tease him, and Leonis can't believe that a demon lord like him is being ridiculed by a girl. However, they reach the city, and Leonis is amazed to see it. Celia reveals that it's humanity's last stronghold against the Void, and Leonis can't believe he's really 1,000 years in the future. But that's where the episode 1 of this anime comes to a close. Thanks for watching. Also, do mention in the comment section if there is anything that I should be improving on my channel. See you all in the next recap. Goodbyes until then.